That is not what I want on front. Although that is one of the reference photos I'm working from. Actually, sure, let's start with that. Um, I've been working on finding some decent reference photos, and I actually set it up so that you could see said photos on stream. So this is one angle. I cannot figure out what relationship this bears to any of the rest of it. Some variation on this is the most common that I've seen. So I'm thinking black or dark gray glass with maybe deep slate walls, or probably deep slate brick walls in between, because those are a little lighter, or maybe even tough brick walls in between. But that yellow from this picture, you'd almost think, hey, that should almost be like, yellow concrete. And then this looks a little more terracotta-y. And some of the ones here, everything looks very white. So I'm thinking I may go with strip birch for that. And the rest of this is just menu stuff. Strip birch or stripped oak, one of those. Somewhere in between these yellowy, terracotta-y colors and white. But on that note, let's close that out and convince the game to show up. There we go. I don't know. I have a feeling bowling means something very different in Australia. I mean, Bowling Green is a thing. We even have places named Bowling Green here in the States. I just don't know why. Also, I think in cricket, you bowl rather than pitch. But I could be wrong, because I could be talking about some other sport that I know absolutely nothing about. Well, a lot of sports clubs also do wedding venue stuff, so that I found less surprising. But yeah, it was not anything like what I was expecting to find. Um, Also, this island is probably not big enough, but then again, that's not exactly to scale for surf club either. So let's see. Let's look at black stained glass and gray stained glass. Polished deep slate could be too, rather than brick. That actually might be better. More polished tough. And back up here, stripped oak wood and stripped birch wood. Let's just throw these all down here. I think stripped oak wood might be the way to go. We'll see what fits better with the rest of what I have, because neither one is really going to approximate whatever the heck that material is. There does need to be a fair amount of white, and I think that's going to end up coming from primarily pale oak, because a lot of it's very slanted. So I'm going to need like stairs. And slabs, possibly even trapdoors. For that roof. I have no idea how I'm going to make it have the like little lines on it. Also, this entire level just needs to go. Yes, I realize there's probably a command I could use to delete this using World Edit. Do I know that command off the top of my head? No. No, I do not. So we are not even attempting. I think we're going to end up having this taper off in this general direction. Just probably better. Oh yeah, it would help if I actually pulled up the stream on my phone so I could see chat. Someday I will have more than one monitor. We're nowhere near there yet. Welcome, Asuk Angel. Yes. Yeah, that's one of the reasons I should be able to see chat. Yep. All right. I think for folks on Stagecraft who are asking what they can do to help, this might be my first thing is, you know, just flatten this island. Why have any differences in elevation? That's just, well, maybe over here we can. I don't know. Let's see. Now, sandstone is something I hadn't considered. That could be useful. That might actually be a better approximation than either of the stripped woods that I have, although since I'm probably going to end up using pale oak for the other stuff, having it be wood might be generally a good idea, but let's see. Sandstone. It would probably be smooth. Cut. Cut might actually do a better job of approximating. Hear no game sounds. Oh, what the heck? Why? It's picking up other desktop audio. I'm hearing game sounds. Do I just need to turn them up? Any of it coming through now? See, I had turned down the music because the music was getting kind of loud. But the game sounds are also desktop audio. I tried turning the music sound down from the player. Is that coming through now at all? Blacksbury, hello, hello! Welcome, welcome! Good to see you. Still not hearing game sounds. Game sounds. Okay, apparently I just needed to crank them up. That's weird. Okay, so since we have new people, I am doing well. How are you doing, Laxbury? What in the world are we doing planning for? We are planning for this charity stream in November. This audio troubleshooting, always fun. I am well. I hope you are doing well also. So this charity event, last year we did this side of it. It's a charity for dementia research. The bike ride that started this whole business goes from Bondi in New South Wales to, or I think it's New South Wales, but it's Australia, to Berry in, that is in New South Wales, because I've seen NSW all over everything I've been looking at today. Last year we built the Bondi side, and if I jump over onto Stagecraft itself for a moment, we can see what that actually ended up looking like to give tribute to everyone who donated. And it's night. So we did a lot of fancy armor stand stuff. This was all of us who put this together. And then all the named armor stands are for people who had donated above a certain level. Sort of trying to show the bike ride. So some of the named armor stands are bike riders, some of them are bystanders. So at one level you got a forget-me-not planted, at another level you got a name on a sign, at another level you got a name on a sign and a bow sign, and then whatever the top tier was upward was getting an armor stand named after you. There are other armor stands here. I'm trying to do creative flight in survival. That, shockingly, is not working. Up here on top of the Bondi Surf Club, we have everybody who was in last year, streamed for last year's Stream to Remember. So, I took a schematic of that island over that away. Not a rockets, but hey, that's why I like the trident. So, last week I mocked up the bridge that is part of the trip. It's a very long trip, actually, not anything like this close. And I'm working on what the bowling club in Berry is supposed to look like, where the race ends. Or ride, really, so it's not really a race. Oh, it still says 50 hours? Yeah, it's gonna be 75 hours this year. I thought I had updated that. Huh. Not options. Let's get off the server and back over to creative. Oh, in the command one it is, but in the timer it's not. Okay, I'll have to work on that. Since they're entities, none of the armor stands, including the ones that cause the bikes to exist, came over. I'm surprised the signs did, to be honest, but Fightmatica does paste in signs, so I guess I'm not super surprised, even though they're quasi-entities. Alright, so the other thing is, what does this place look like that I'm attempting to build here? And let's pull up references that I've got. So it looks like this. And yet also looks like this. This. And this. I don't see how they're the same place, but they seem to be. There is definitely an architectural theme that holds across them. So, yeah, trying to work from that. So that's what I'm up to tonight. Good, Adam. Oh, you're in Louisiana. Yeah, definitely message me later. Welcome back stateside. Good luck. Alright, so one thing that helps is this place does appear to be largely rectangular. So, oh, and if I'm gonna have the road continue over here. I like the idea that this sort of tapers off to then be this level. I'm not sure how likely that is, but you know, there's probably some sort of gradient, right? Let's keep this on going. Come on. I hate how grass gets in the way of the whole replace block thing. You know what? Can I just like grab a bucket of water? all this. Oh, right. And I will have to actually individually destroy these things. And we're over here converting concrete powder into concrete. Because I'm an idiot. All the source blocks, looks like. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, if you wanted to start flattening the island, I wouldn't stop you. But if you aren't comfy, then I say stay comfy. Almost committed several felonies at work this week. Getting off the couch is getting near impossible for the sake of a secret agent watching you, kid mostly. Please be extra careful at the moment, because I don't know if you've heard up in your neck of the woods, Spawn, but down here in the States, apparently Twitch, for reasons that make no sense whatsoever, has been caught up in the scrutiny following the recent political violence, which, at least the fact that they're addressing Discord makes sense, because apparently Discord was something that was used as a tool of conversing about that. But somehow also Reddit, Twitch, and Steam are all getting caught into this. So yeah, you do probably want to be careful. Okay, so that tells me what I have for land to work with, which means this is definitely going to have to go. I need all the rest of this to be flat. Okay. Okay. So now, leaning towards polished tough wall. How far back from the road do I want this? Probably not very. Maybe like a 3 or 5. 5 is actually looking like that's 4. That's 5. 3, 4, 5. Yep. Okay. Let's go with the gray glass. I think that's gonna work better than black glass. Yeah, I think you are correct. That's right, unfortunately. I forgot the walls were going to extend like that. That is not the impact that I want. But if I attempt to use fences, they're not going to connect at all. Out of curiosity, would it be any better toughness? I don't think so. See, that looks better than this. Yeah, the polish just sort of... No, this does too. Wanted to see more of like this, where you have the rounded bit of the wall and then just a little bit extending up each side. That's going to work on the corners, not along this. the tough bricks are very different in quality to any other bricks in the game, yeah. So they do kind of stand out. Which, for trial chamber purposes, is great. For other times when you might want to use them, they do kind of stand out and call attention to themselves in a way you might not want. Alright, I assume something here needs to be a doorway, too. So I'll just pick the center since I don't think any of those photos really give me anything else to go on. Stairs, slabs. Okay. Put that. Okay. Yes, Dream to Remember is coming up. It is in November. The timer is incorrect with the details, but the pinned message, the message that Bond pinned from earlier, is accurate. Or if you do exclamation point S2R, have this year's information. I don't like this contrast at all, but we're going to at least put it in and then have a look at the reference photo and see. Because right now this just looks like a mess. And we've got the completely white roof. I guess maybe the stairs do the diagonal bit themselves. The corners, we'll see. Oh, the pinned thing didn't pop up with the keyword open? Yeah, it is going to be a great stream this year. Also, I should take 2 seconds to go copy the command text into the timer. There we go. That's an interesting question. I mean, the building is not super intricate. The building is a rectangle that has some awnings and things. Trying to figure out what materials are going to evoke the flavor of it when I know, I mean, there's no way it's going to be too close, no matter what. Hello. The armor stand work is more intricate to create the bikes and things. But once I kind of get going on it again, it'll just come back and just be a flow. Now, so let me go over to the reference photo. Not that one. That one doesn't help with the roof. It really does come up to a pretty tight peak. But it's also not super tall. I don't really want it to go another whole level after this. Because if I get it to where it's going to come together in the center, it's just going to be way too tall. I laid out some of the materials that I thought might approximate the appearance from the photos. I don't like how they look together at all. So there's definitely an element of winging it too. When it comes time to do this in survival, by then I'll use Matica to get a count on exactly what we need of each resource, whatever they are. Okay, this looks horrendous. And I didn't switch over the scene. Brilliant. This looks horrendous, and not at all like that. Okay. I think I give up on trying to capture that transitional yellowishness, because I just don't see that working. I mean, you could just use...
Hello? 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 Hello?
Definitely a work in progress. Also, looking back at that reference photo, I think it needs to be square rather than rectangular. Rectangle comes from it being two square things that are next to each other. Which honestly looks like a circus tent. Do I know how often you forget we have Sound Booth Bot? I do not know how often you forget. I mean, considering I barely remember we have it because I don't make anywhere near as much use of it as Richard does. Alright, if I keep this 5, this is only 3, so we need to go 2 more back. I should really get better at World Edit, which would be way faster. Actually, wait a minute. There we go. Wooden axe. Let's get rid of this. There, that works. Means I could do the same thing here. There we go, much better. Also, this, but copy paste is actually a little tougher. Alright, I can stand myself exactly here. I'm gonna do / copy. Go 1, 2, 5. 1, 2, 5. Okay. Center. 1, 2, 3, 5. Gonna paste behind me? Yes, yes it is. / undo. It's facing this way. 1, 2, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And then let's just copy this entire front. Center. just need to. Nope, we are off by one. No. There we go. Hello, Gunman Graham. Welcome, welcome. There are not great photos. The ones that I found after Bakara found the name of the place where the ride even ends. Let's see. They're not super helpful. Like, if somebody who lives in Australia could maybe just go take a whole bunch of photos, that'd be awesome. But, if that was going to happen, it would have happened when I initially asked for stuff during what seemed to be a vacation time there, even though it was winter. I do this with slabs. Besides being a pain in the neck, it's probably also going to run into the getting too tall thing. Also, this island is not big enough to, which, I mean, we can always terraform it, but there is actual adjacent land. I don't want to get into that level of terraforming. Yes, I could maybe make it over here. Let's get one chunk of it. Doing. Oh, I'm sure we would be fine in their winter. Although now it's their spring, or will be shortly when we switch over to official autumn. Yes, it does just have that effect. Good thing this isn't until November. Especially with how little Minecraft I'm doing these days. Gunman Grim, did you want to see the actual original build from last year? This is an I'm not going to call it a replica because there's just way too many artistic liberties necessitated by the fact that this is being done in Minecraft, if nothing else. But this charity in Australia is supported partly by an annual bike ride between Bondi and Barrie. And last year, for the Stream to Remember part of it, which is in support of and runs at the same time as the bike run, bike ride, I should say. We did the Bondi Surf Club where it starts, and on the actual server, you can see there's all sorts of armor stand work showing various people and creating actual bikes. The Forget-Me-Nots, which are the official flower of Dementia, are actually Azure Bluets with a texture pack. Somebody on the Stagecraft server very kindly created. Because I was just going to go with Azure Bluets and say that's as close as we've got in Minecraft. Because I have no idea how to do any of that texture pack stuff. Alright. I will say at least the roof is getting to be a closer approximation. As far as the roof anyway. I'm not sure what I think about the body of the build, because the walls are not doing what I wanted them to do as dividers. Okay. No. Well, yeah, I'm a bit happier with the roof. Giving up on that transitional bit probably was the way to go. I'm trying to think of anything to do what I want it to do. Without getting into more armor stands. I could totally do with candles and armor stands. We're already going to have a ridiculous amount of armor stands. Let me switch back over to the once again. That's what I'm trying to get. If I try to do something like iron bars, that's going to be its own whole problem. Because of the way those either won't attach at all, or will attach and make it look like they do on the bridge. Why is that the only timer that's going? There should have been an Orchestereo timer and a Stagecraft timer at some point. Okay, there we go. The Orchestereo did go. Stagecraft timer go? Seeing it. Turn it on. Alright, had to remind myself what the command even is. That works. Timer is turned on. It's supposed to go every 20 minutes. I do try when I'm on somebody's server to actually, you know, make it clear that's whose it is. This is where I'm gonna wish that it worked like Mathematica, that I could like move this all on the block easily. It is now bothering me that there's not that transition, even though I was not happy with what we had for a transition. But I could use shift pale oak wood. And start the roof there. Okay, let me see if I can cut and paste this. This. All right, I am at y-57. Literally just want to go up 1. Can't get the hang of this world edit thing yet. Only the most basic commands ever. Vaughn, did you see Pearl's build and seek today? I didn't watch Joel's as closely. His is probably similar though, but watching her use of world edit during it was like, yeah, you just don't even have to think about this anymore, do you? It just happens. Okay. That's a little better. I'm still just really not happy. Oh, Tango's was hilarious. As one would expect. Yeah. What if... no, that does not look right. Pearl's was definitely a, yeah. I've watched her do other creative builds, and it always kind of blows my mind. If I used, it's not the right color, but it might behave a little better. That is not better. That is much worse. Never mind. And another brick walls. Probably gonna be just as bad, if not worse. Yep. They're gonna do exactly the same thing as the tough walls. I didn't realize the incentive thing was still in there. I'm gonna have to figure out what this year's incentives are. I'm not sure that I still have, like, make me eat Vegemite. Very possibly. Alright, I had considered deep slate bricks. Let's just see. Not tiles, those are way too dark. I think the color tone is still better than the tough. Even if it's still flattening out in a way that I really wish it wouldn't. Oh no, it's last year's. Okay. Right, the Vegemite stuff was the year before. And as out of date as that Vegemite already was then, I certainly wouldn't be eating it now. I am pretty sure I'd throw it out. Because it was pushing it then. Get into the deep slate. Slate brick stairs. Deep slate brick slabs. Now the other thing is, there's some sort of poles on the outside that are actually white, but they don't appear to be what's in the structure itself. They're like supports for that awning. GG, Bun. Okay. And this is 5, 9, 18, 19, 20. Where to put plus it looks like 7 would be closer. What's the Y value on this? I am at 22 z negative 17. Little off. Let's move back, I think, one more. More. Now I can't tell what's in between here other than that awning. Shh. Just to extend a bit into both sides. Say this far. Probably about enough of that. Of course. Because I can't tell anyway, and we are going to be in survival, I'm going to just bring this back at this level, because that will be non-spawnable. I am going to have to throw glow lichen on the roof to spawn-proof it because of using the half slabs instead of stairs, but that definitely does come closer to approximating the appearance than the stairs were doing. I don't think I'm trying to copy paste that. Down by oh, good. Well, that's not terrible terraforming to have to do. honestly, inside is going to be some kind of flooring anyway. And good luck figuring out what that's going to be. What did I do for a floor in the surf club? That looks like a wonderful idea. Yeah, not terrible is impractical. Things I wish I had decided before I started. But, you know, this is how it goes. And it should be possible. When I've tried to fill a space with a block, though, that has generally tended to go horribly wrong. So no, we're not doing that. We'll just do this. Knew that was gonna happen. Figure out something lighting wise in here. And guess what in the heck the ceiling looks like. As much as these buildings look like big tops from the outside, I'm sure you're not just looking up at that tent of a roof. Especially not if they're a wedding venue. I think extending it out one makes sense because the idea is this is sort of a cement-ish pouring, and I think those usually do. It's like a drop ceiling. Yeah, probably. And how does one replicate that in Minecraft? Probably trapdoors and slabs, maybe? Oh, I hate the sandy noises. I mean, at least this is a beach-esque setting, so it kind of fits, but that is one thing I kind of wish they hadn't added, or wish they had left in, included some way to turn it off. Alright. Orange glazed terracotta in the restaurant? No, 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 no. Can't be. Does look like there's brick out front. Ooh, you're right. It does. That almost looks like path block. Okay. So, this we can keep like this. And okay, orange glazed terracotta. Actually, it could be brown glazed terracotta. On both. They are very similar. Go. Well, the brown glazed terracotta is less eye bleeding, so I think I'm leaning in that direction. I hate terracotta. There we go. I know it doesn't really matter if I end up with an extra slab underneath, except that Lightnautica will then mark the top slab as wrong for not having a bottom slab under it, because it's obnoxious like that. I am trying to think ahead towards that. Sorry, I'm not doing very well with the whole talking thing that you're supposed to do when you stream. Okay. Mostly grain toasted, so whenever we're not talking, it just blends into one. Okay, that's fair. And I have a feeling since Blacksmar and Gum and Grim are visiting folks, probably they're doing some actual visiting. And lurking, which I very much appreciate. They're probably also not particularly minding the lack of talking. Okay. Oh my gosh, this is I think I'll probably finish the floor, put the bricks, and call it there. Because, well, it is about that time, and also, terracotta is incredibly frustrating and dizzy making. And I don't even know if we have the wrench on Stagecraft, but I know we have it on Greenhouse, and it seems to have not been working for a while. So it probably wasn't getting updated by whoever created it. I don't know if that's a Zuma. I don't know if he did the wrench or just the texture pack to make it look like a wrench. We have Armor Poser now. I believe we actually have Armor Poser. That said, I can use the book if it's just the book. However, I would hope that maybe it would be the current book and not the Vanilla Tweaks one that is out of date and doesn't do everything it's supposed to be able to do. But I don't know. Jet lag? Oh, absolutely. Thank you very much, Lex Mary. Hope you and Gum and Grim get excellent sleep and recover from your jet lag. Have a wonderful visit, and I look forward to catching up with you later. Pleasant dreams to you both. This floor is going to be an odd number, isn't it? Okay, well, it is what it is. Eesh. I don't get motion sick, and this is making me motion sick. I apologize to anybody who's watching who actually does get motion sick. Okay, there's our flooring. Alright, let's mirror this on the other side, and then I think we're gonna call it. Put the awning back here too, don't I? I think. Figure out what we're getting back here as far as terraforming. Now we've got this. That is probably not how that's going to stay. But I think I'm reasonably okay with this for right now. Ooh, I could make that a little more gradual using armor stands. I tend to forget about using it like that, but Cleo did a fair bit of that at the end of season 9. It's basically creating dirt slabs, armor stands in areas that they wanted gradual slope. I should probably put that here. That does look really sharp. So, yeah. At least ceiling. This is not me going to bed. This one. that's the other problem. Make it go up at that level. Can't hang lights from it. Might do. See how this works. Oh. That might not work at all, but sheesh. Go that way. better that way with the handles facing forward. Much of a pain in the neck as it is. All right. I'm not sure what I think of this. Trying to get that drop ceiling sort of effect. Thank you. So, hit the neck. That means it's going to be a huge pain in survival. I'm trying to even conceptualize how you place these survival without having to break everything. Replace it like this. It's annoying in creative, but at least I don't have to worry about where the heck it's falling and whether I'm catching stuff that I then need to place. See, it's just two. Oh, that's annoying. Yeah. Good night, Vaughn. I need sleep too. And I need to figure out how to make this ceiling work so that it actually lights end up symmetrical, and I think I'm at least on the right track. Alright, and on that note, let me see. And does it make sense to you right now? The answer to that is probably no. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna rate out then. I'm just going to call it a night, because it looks like it is just me. But if I am incorrect, or if you are watching the VOD, I will say thank you very much, whether you chatted, whether you lurked. I appreciate you, each and every one, and until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye!